everybody, it's me, Miss You, and I'm going to try to reproduce the bottom part of the protective case. So let's take a look at it, and I'm going to create the profile, then I'm going to extrude it. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to have to make sure you have the units right. So before I select the front view, you're going to go up to Onshape where it says Document Menu. You're going to go Workspace Units. You're going to switch inches to millimeters. You're going to go Check, and you're going to go Front View and Front View. Okay, the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to create a rectangle. I'm going to open up my sketch, create a rectangle, creating my rectangle. And it's really the side of the box that I'm looking at because I'm going to extrude the front. And I'm going to dimension the side. This happens to be 41 millimeters. And this happens to be 32 millimeters. Okay. Well, next we're going to put on the hinge with a circle at the center point, and I'm going to create a circle. Okay. Here's my circle. The radius is 2.5 centimeters. That means the diameter is not centimeters, millimeters, is 5 millimeters. Okay, there it is. I'm going to zoom in so I could delete some of these extra lines pretty easily. I'm going to go to the scissors and I'm going to highlight it and delete it. Highlight it and delete it. Highlight it and delete it. My first sketch is done. And next I'm going to highlight it, then extrude it to 55 millimeters. And I'm going to go check. And now let's take a look at what we've done. Here's my isometric view. It looks pretty close to what we're doing. Normally I would shell out the bottom, but because 3 of the sides are different, what I think I'm going to do is there's one side that's 3 millimeters and the rest of it is 2 millimeters. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to select the top. I'm going to sketch out a rectangle. Here it is. I'm going to sketch it out and then put on some constraints. Okay. Main constraint, distance to the end, 2 millimeters. Distance from here to here, 2 millimeters. Distance from here to here, 2 millimeters. And now we have 3 millimeters. So from here, this is 2.5. So I'm just going to have from here to here is actually 0.5 of a millimeter. And that is just the tiny lip along the edges. That's 0.5 millimeter, because from the center point to here should be 3 millimeters. Okay, now I'm going to extrude it. My second sketch is done. I'm going to extrude it. And the depth that I'm doing, since it's 32, I want it to be 30 millimeters. I'm going to select remove. It's in the right direction, and I'm going to go check. And here we go. The last step we want to do is we want to remove the middle part of the hinge, right? So I'm going to create a new plane on top. So I'm going to select the ledge. I'm going to create a plane, a new plane that's parallel to it, and it's going to be an offset distance of 2.5, 2.5, and let's see if I have it in the right direction. So to me, that offset distance looks like it's below the hinge. I want it above the hinge, so I'm going to switch the direction of the plane. And I'm going to just change the direction so, oh, that looks even lower, so it must be above. There it is. So that looks good. On the plane, I'm going to sketch a rectangle, and then I'm going to extrude that rectangle. Okay, whoops, I want it to be plane 1. So let me X out of here, go to plane 1. My sketch is going to be on plane 1, and I'm going to create a rectangle that clearly overlaps the hinge. And I'm going to have, there it is, there's my rectangle. I'm going to select the distances, putting in my constraints with distances. One end to one end, I want that to be 10, because that's the length of the hinge. I want from here to there also to be 10, because again, that's the length of the second hinge. I want this distance over here should be 35, and it is. I don't care so much about the width because I am just going to extrude it. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm now going to highlight it, extrude. I'm going to remove it. And the distance I'm removing it is actually 5 millimeters. So we could start on the top of the hinge and go through to the bottom of the hinge, which is a diameter of 5. I'm going to go check, and here it is. Looks great. The next step that I'm going to do is, you see those tiny circles? I'm going to zoom in and make them on both sides. I highlight the circle. I'm going to sketch. I'm going to create another sketch, a center point circle. And I believe the diameter for those circles are 1.5. So I have my circle. It's 1.5 millimeters. That does not look right. So let me take a better look. It's actually 2.5, not 1.5. So let me change that. 2.5. That looks a lot better. And I'm also going to draw a line through the middle, and we're going to revolve around that line. Great. So I have my line through the middle, and now I'm going to select half of it. I'm going to go to, let me exit out of the sketch actually. Now I'm going to go to revolve. I selected half of it. And now I'm going to select the revolve axis. There it is. And I have my semicircle that will allow us to click in the other hinge from the top part. I'm going to go around and do the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to select the semicircle. I'm going to create a sketch, create a circle. I'm going to dimension it to 2.5. Whoops. Now I'm going to draw a line through the center and select the sketch. There we go. I want to select half of it. The trick here is to zoom in a lot. Oops, I want to revolve it. So that's not what I want to do. Let me go back. Here I am. I'm selecting the semicircle. I'm revolving it. I want to get the revolve axis. Here it is. And now my semicircle clip part is done. Last two parts are to create the dots on the bottom and to create the slot. So let me go back to the isometric view. I want to take, just so I can see things much nicer, I want to remove the view of the plane. And I am going to click the front part for the sketch. I'm going to create a center point rectangle over here. I'm going to look for the center point. The center point is right here, shows up as a square. Then I'm going to go down just a little bit, and I'm going to create my rectangle. There's my rectangle, and now I'm going to start dimensioning my rectangle. Okay, let me go over here. This is 3 millimeters. The height is 3 millimeters, and the width is 15. It's already centered on the bottom, and the distance from the bottom to the bottom is 19.5 millimeters. Okay. So the slot is done. Let me exit, check in the sketch. We're going to now extrude it. It's just a simple remove extrude. Let's just make sure it's not too big. And the wall thickness is 2. So let's just go 2. And we should have, let me go isometric view. And it looks like it's completed. Let me take a look. Yeah, I could see right through it.